Warning: this show is intended for mature audiences only. Viewers' discretion is advised. This show may contain strong language and sensitive or controversial topics. We are not attorneys and are not providing legal advice. The views and conversations are our own thoughts and feelings, and therefore, purely speculation.
The entertainment world and beyond.
Skywalker air miles, feeding on a service, gliding on water, constricted and conflicted.
Welcome to Purely Speculation, a show that exposes the harmful effects of the criminal legal system. I'm your host, Heather Lewis, the Executive Director of the Reuniting Family Bail Fund and practitioner of participatory defense. On this show, you'll learn about the unspoken horrors of the criminal justice system and meet fierce allies and advocates. We will make the best of our traumatic experiences. We will get angry. We may even cry. We most certainly going to laugh, but one thing's for sure, we're going to keep it real. Welcome to Purely Speculation.
When they free my sins and let them loose, they was killing me, I got scars to prove, got me paralyzed, I could even barely move. Out the way I took the pain again.
Hey, y'all. We're back. Season 3, volume 30, y'all, of the Court Watchers edition of Purely Speculation. And we got the veterans here, none other than Taria and Scotty here to recap the last couple of weeks. I'm actually like the summer, because the summer's coming to an end, and we kind of see a shift. Like, Taria, I don't know if you noticed, like, in like the arraignments, if you see anything different from like the winter months or whatever, because you've been kind of almost at a year now of watching the arraignments regularly, consistently every day. And so we kind of want to see if there's any trends, what it looks like, because I know I see a drop off on bail amounts or bail requests, but also an uptick in FTAs. So we just want to kind of recap and if anything that you saw in the last couple of weeks as far as the courts or what's been going on with bail. I know we've seen a couple that have increased bail. We can talk about that as we get into it. So, Taria, have you seen anything as far as like the summer in compared to like the winter months, winter, springish, the drop off or increase? Things change?
Yeah. Hey, how is everybody tonight? The difference that I'm seeing now on arraignments from the summer to now is the decrease of the ICE detainers. It was like at the beginning of the summer, it was like a surge,
right?
Where you seen a lot of Hispanics on there being detained, and they were giving them crazy amount of bail,
right?
And that has kind of slowed down. I don't know if they took a different effect, or they just approached it differently, or they probably took it out of the hands of pretrial services because it was so many. I don't know, for sure. But I just know that that's what I have seen a difference in lately is the ICE detainers.
That is surprising, but not. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm sure, at the rate that they are detaining people on a daily basis, that, it was going to clog the system as it exists right now, because it's not designed for that. So where, and Scotty, maybe or maybe you've heard something. So if they're not going through, again, due process, which I saw Jasmine Crockett was grinding them up again about due process in the Constitution, that you are afforded, if you are on U.S. soil, you have the right to due process. And he was like, but if you came in here illegal, if you are on U.S. soil, you are afforded due process. That is your right. And so are they skirting due process and taking them, because I'm not sure are they taking them straight up? I can't even pronounce the place where they're being held in Pennsylvania. Whatever it is. I can't even. There's not Monohoy. It's like some Mana something. I'll find it. But are they just taking them straight to?
That's exactly what's happening. They're
Right.
not even bothering with the MDJs here in Montgomery County. They have a bus. As soon as they get them, to hold them in the bus overnight, and they stay in the bus. They don't take them up there to the county or anything. They keep them in the bus.
Where the
So
bus at?
Bus full, and then what they do is then they take them up to the jail to have them processed. And process, okay, is give me your name, your age, and that's it. They don't care nothing. They don't care about, oh, I've been here, my address is so and so. I worked at Joe Blow's barbershop for the last 10 years. I have no record. I have no problem with anybody or anything. And they say, hey, are you a United States citizen? And if you say no, that's it.
Bye-bye.
Yep.
Mo Shannon, Moshannon, Valley Processing. That's in Phillipsburg. So I don't know if they're taking them to Philadelphia and then going out there, because earlier in the summer, I was getting calls from this place and I didn't know what it was. And I'm just like, what in the world is this? Like, I could never, like, the phone call never went through, but I would just see that it was coming from this place. And I'm like, what the heck? And just so happened to see or hear it somewhere, maybe it flashed on the news. And I was like, oh, snap. Somebody's been calling me from that place. You know what I mean? Maybe, obviously looking for some support, but the phone call never went through. And so it's,
the phone call probably never went through because they're not giving them any privileges. They don't have any privileges. They're like convicted murderers. You get you get a hour outside, and that's it. You don't have any privileges. Phone calls, visits, nothing.
That's crazy.
And people are scared to open their mouth because they're afraid they're going to be the next ones.
Right.
And you and I had discussed earlier about how do they know, how does ICE know where to go to get these people? How do they know the supermarket up West Marshall Street? How do they know the barber shop on Main Street? How do they get the details to go in to arrest these people?
Right.
The magic question.
And not only that, but also too, is that outside of their status, if they were criminals or had some type of criminal charges in the past, clearly they went through the magistrate, and we said this before, they went through the magistrate, they went through the court process. They probably, even if it didn't get squashed at the district level, it went through the court of common pleas, and there was a disposition of some sort, whether they did time, whether they were on probation, fine, whatever, found not guilty. They went through that process, whether or not their status came up or was an issue. You know what I mean? ICE didn't come get them then. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, like you said, one, how do they know that whoever is working at Giganti on Tuesday at 9:00? How? How do you know? How did you grab 14 people out of there? Like how? And they're just getting up going to work.
Most of them were at work. Most of them were at work.
You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't make sense. It's not like you're catching them, grabbing them off the street corner, engaged in illegal activity. These are family members, families that are being snatched apart because their status is undocumented or their visa's expired. There's all types of reasons why people's status is inactive or not current, whatever you want to call it. I don't like saying people are illegal. It just, things happen and your status, whatever.
And the other thing is that usually when they have serving a warrant, they can't serve that warrant until after 6:05 in the morning. But ICE is going to people's houses in the middle of the night, snatching people up.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just unfair that the Norristown Police Department keeps putting their hand in.
Right.
Depending on where ICE is pointing to go and get these people, whether the Norristown cops will help.
As will East Norton and West Norton.
Right.
You know what I mean? They had a whole big stink about the resource officer up at the high school. I think he's a West. Was that East Norton or West Norton? East Norton.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because he participated supporting an ICE raid, and they got him out here. And it was interesting. I don't know if it was a school, but I imagine it was a school board, but the East Norton community was in an uproar because they said he was just doing his job. And it's like, how then is he a trusted resource officer in a school that is, I want to say, predominantly Hispanic at this point?
Yes.
How can he go in that school and them kids feel safe, knowing that he participated and aided in their community members being detained and kidnapped and whisked away? So people don't think about the implications, you know, because of their privilege. That would never be me. I don't have to. Why would I have to think like that? Why would I think like that? Because I don't have to worry about somebody coming and snatching my kid or snatching my husband or my wife. You know, so that's very interesting because, you know, like Taria, now she's back. In the beginning of the summer, when this first started happening, I was getting calls, and they were some like $77 detainers. There was one that was like a $2,000 detainer. But then after that, either they were high, like Taria said, like 10,000 plus, or like she said, you're not even seeing them. So they're bypassing the magistrate and going straight to the bus and being shipped out. So there's no due process.
Yeah, because after they get upstate, you don't know where they go after that. They're
Right.
saying where they're at, but are they really there? That's
Right.
what they were doing in Philadelphia. They were saying that they were at one place, but when they went to the place where they said they were at, none of them were there. The place was clean.
Wow. That's crazy. Any other things that kind of stand out to you, Taria, as opposed to the winter time and now?
Yeah, so just to recap real fast on what you was just saying about the ICE thing. I'm gonna tell you when I've seen the change happen. So you remember before they gave them 24 hours to pick them up.
Mm-hmm.
When the county made that big announcement in the paper that they was only going to give 4 hours for ICE to come get them,
Right.
and then they was going to release them, that's when I seen the shift that they no longer bought any ICE people anymore.
Right. But wasn't that the
There was a
policy?
way.
Yeah, I think the policy is 4 hours. Like you have 4 hours to get there. You can't hold them longer than 4 hours if there's no criminal charges, right?
Yeah, when they changed the policy, when they put the policy in effect.
Right. Because they was just doing whatever they wanted to do to appease those ICE agents. But the policy was you had 4 hours. And then now since they had that issue when they kidnapped that woman and the protesters were outside of there, they enforced the policy and said, oh no, we're not going to do 24 hours. You got a 4-hour ICE hold, that's it. And then I said, fuck it, we ain't even going to bother with y'all. We going to hold them in the bus.
Right. And I was just getting ready to say that. The way they circumvented that whole thing was they're not taking them. They bypassing the county. They take them to the bus. They hold them in the doggone bus. We don't have to deal with you. Yeah, we don't have to deal with what you put in place. Okay, now we're going to do it our way. And I got the United States government behind me. What are you going to do?
Right.
We override all that.
Right. Man, oh man. So, what else is going on in the arraignment world, Taria? Any cases that struck you?
So now they have so come to find out last week that they were giving out locas. So locas is considered level of care assessments.
Oh, okay.
So a lot of people were getting a level of care assessment kind of mandatory to them when either from jail or after release. And come to find out last week, this lady had came on and observed on court from JRS. So JRS was the finding factor of the level of care assessments. And this lady's been now going on 2 weeks. She's been observing the court hearings. And she has said that she's the one that, as of today, taking over the level of care assessments. Because apparently they were just having a caseworker do the level of care assessments and not a clinician. So these people were getting misdiagnosed by just a social worker and not an actual therapist or a psychiatrist.
Who set that up? Would that be pretrial services? Like, because I imagine they're contracting. I know JRS is a county agency, but to put that in place, like how does that happen? How does it go from, okay, you need a level of care assessment, it gets to JRS? So was JRS originally doing the level of care assessments and it was just a caseworker, or were they not going to JRS and just maybe somebody in pretrial that's not certified or licensed or anything?
No, they were saying that JRS was the ones that they were sending level care assessments to. I don't know why they're not sending them to Central. I think because I don't know for sure, but I think Central's a little short-staffed it. But I know at one time Central was the court connection. But I know that JRS used to be, and that was about a year or two ago. Remember, JRS, you could put a referral in from any organization and they work directly with the courts.
Right.
And I know at one time they weren't kind of contracted with the courts. So now I think they are. I'm saying from what I'm getting and understanding of this new lady named Jordan that's on there every day, that she is going to be taking over because the judge asked her today, who was she and where was she coming from? And she said, I'm the new supervisor clinician that's taking over the level of care assessment starting today.
Okay.
Well, JRS, they were sending them directly to Central, weren't they?
I don't know where they were getting them done. To be honest, I don't know if it was happening on the inside. Because when I would talk with some caseworkers, they're like, "Oh, the schedule, like it's the schedule out. It's like 3 weeks or whatever. Like there's a waiting list for people to even get the level of care. Like, okay, I can post their bail, but until they get their level of care, they can't go home."
Right.
And it's like, okay, well, if that's a condition of my bail, then that needs to be done immediately. So if people are in queue to have their bail posted and their freedom restored, there should be a way to prioritize that. In my mind, anyway.
Right. You're right. It should be. And it should go along with the wording in the program that, this person is eligible for parole if they get the help that they need. Those are the people that they should put up front to get the help that they need, instead of having them wait until 2 or 3 weeks or 2 or 3 months down the line in order for them to get out when they're eligible.
Exactly. And that leads me to another issue that I experienced a couple weeks ago, and I think you were part of it. Yvonne was part of it. So about 3 weeks ago, the court, the jail, the county, the entire county system, email system crashed. Wasn't working. I called the jail. I was ready to post this young man's bail. called the jail. They were like, well, unless you know what his bail is. I was like, yeah, I would pull his docket. I'm just verifying. They're like, we have no way of verifying, blah, 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 blah. All right, cool. I'm going to go. I thought maybe it was just their system. I go to the courthouse. I go in. It's a ghost town. Nobody's there. I mean, the security's there, the sheriff's, but there's nobody in the hall. I'm going to the clerk of courts. Everybody's just standing around. I'm like, what's going on? They're like, we can't do anything. Our system's down. They don't know how long it's going to be down. This was on a Friday. They don't know how long it's going to be down. Even if I went to the jail to post it, their system's down. So there was no way to post it. So now this young man had to sit the weekend in jail when he could have been free. And then I don't know if the system had rebooted, because then Monday, Yvonne went to go post it and she posted it, but it took 2 days for it to actually process through. So here he had almost another 5 days sitting in jail when he could have been free. And it's who's responsible for that? What level of care does the court system and the jail have to the people that they're in charge of when it comes to their freedom? Because you can say, oh, well, the system crashes beyond their control. All right, well, is there a backup plan, and how do you address that? But also too, Taria, if you've been invited to the table, Scotty, if you've been invited to the table, I've been invited to the table, we'd be able to bring up these issues. But just how, like you said, the JRS, how they're doing that, and folks being able to streamline or expedite their level of care because they have the money to post their bail, but they got to wait in line for, other people to have theirs done. I mean, they don't care about what it's doing to the person that's going through this process and how it's interrupting their life. And back to, and then I'll shut up. You know what I mean? When they talk about you do the crime, you don't want to be in this system, don't do the crime. Well, do you know how many people haven't done the crime or haven't done a crime that warrants them being arrested and detained? You know what I mean? We're talking about some summary offenses, which are citations, nonviolent, retail theft, those types of things, human experiences that lead to having contact with the police, that they say, oh, well, somebody got to go to jail tonight because I came out here. So all those people that act like this system is not just kidnapping people because they can, or just because they're in their bag and they had to come out on this call, so somebody's going to jail. You know what I mean? And then the repercussions of how it just escalates and destabilizes their entire life. But go ahead, Scotty.
And the other thing is, Taria was saying about that this woman was the head. How many other clinicians do they have to help? Is she the only one trying to take care of the whole Montgomery County justice system? There's no one else to be able to back her up or to be able to see these guys or girls to try and get them out? Is she doing this lonesome?
Right. Taria, to Scotty's question, and maybe you know or don't know, maybe it happens in the arraignment, how many, or maybe even the bail review, how many level of care assessments, how many people are assigned a level of care assessment prior to their release? You know what I mean? Is it something that they say?
Yeah. So that's a good question, because before it was like every other arraignment was getting a LOCA. So ever since this lady's been on for the last 2 weeks, they ain't been doing too many LOCAs. And then come to find out, and the sad thing about it is that a PD called it out to what was happening. She had to explain to a judge and had to explain to the ADA and everybody on what was going on.
Right.
So the thing is that communication is not together. Everybody's not on the same page.
Right. Who's requesting the LOCA? Is it the DA? The ADA?
Usually the ADA requests the LOCA because they kind of run the room.
Right.
And or the judge might say, do you think that this person needs substance abuse help? Or Luca, like, what do you think about that? So now what was happening before is that people with probation and parole, they were requesting Lucas, but Bree Halfine will say no, because they have a special budget with probation and parole that's not, they, like, I guess the public defender's office has a budget for Lucas, and then that's for people that's not on probation and parole. And then probation and parole has their own budget that they're supposed to do PPIs.
Right.
So now when somebody's on probation and parole, because that just happened yesterday with a case, the judge had asked, do he need a substance situation? And they said no, he would get a PPI through the probation office.
Right.
So they have a budget for that specific.
Ain't that wild that they don't communicate with each other? Like, they don't understand that there's, everybody has their budgets for their clients, so to speak. Like,
yeah, but the sad part of that is that if I'm locked up and I need that assessment, there's one person trying to do assessments for 10 different people, but you have the funds there that you could hire 2 or 3 other people to help the process along, but it doesn't happen because everybody has their own space that they want to be in, that I'm the boss, that they're afraid to branch out and get the people they need to help the people that need the help.
Right. That would be too much like right. You know what I mean? And efficient and being mindful of our taxpayer dollars, because it costs us money to incarcerate. Like, we're paying, us taxpayers are paying for them to be incarcerated. We're paying for their LOCAs. We're paying for the PPI. We're paying for, transportation and all those types of things that go
Everything for them, we are paying.
Yeah. Right, we're paying for. And so when people are thinking like, oh, it's not up to us, or we shouldn't be, why are we looking at this? Like, the DA's office is, why do we need oversight? And the judges are saying, why do we need, court watchers? Because y'all just spending our fucking money any kind of way you want to. You're wasting it. You're wasting our tax dollars. You're being, frivolous and nonchalant. You don't care about it being efficient because it's not your money. You know what I mean? You're making money for your people, the people that have contracts. You know what I mean? That's who's benefiting from it. The community's not benefiting from it. It's not safer. Families are destabilized because of it. And it just keeps feeding that system of the criminal legal system and the incarceral system and all the people that make money off of it.
Yeah, but what happens is that we have money for 2 years to run this program. And then after 2 years, when the money runs out, if they're not allocated money for another 2 years, then what's happening to us people who are incarcerated, waiting for somebody to come give us assessment to let us out?
You sit there.
Yeah. And they'll make up another program that you have to do that they fund for the next year.
And $1 million, $2 million, right? And wondering why we can't house the unhoused. $1 million would house how many people for a year in permanent housing? Like, you can put people in permanent housing and give them wraparound services and get them, skilled up to either have resources, disability income, whatever, Social Security, whatever it is that they need, even veterans benefits. How many veterans are out here? We just had one that is going through this system that did not have veterans benefits. Why? How are they not enrolled immediately to whatever benefits that they're eligible for, so that they have resources to pay for their housing and whatever it is that they need? But no, they come home, they have PTSD, they have some type of trauma, and yeah, they may be too proud to want to go get these benefits. I get that, but it's like there's nobody there to help them either.
Yeah.
And this would avoid, having, unhoused veterans when there are resources designated for them specifically. And like you said, it took this person to be incarcerated, to be in the carceral system for his veterans benefits to be activated. So they ain't gonna give it to you unless you ask, right?
And that's what I was just getting ready to say. A lot of people don't even know what benefits, are available to them. And those that do know have a problem trying to figure out how to get them.
Right. Yeah, that some things should just be automatic.
Right. Exactly.
You know what I mean? It should be automatic. Yeah. It's complete. Like it should be automatic. You're literally enlisted. So whatever. I mean, I'm sure there's a couple of things that they need to know, honorable or dishonorable, however you're discharged, whatever your rank was, like all that stuff. But they have all of that information. All that information is internal to the veterans, system. So,
what happens is when you're getting ready to come home on parole, about a month before you're eligible to come home on parole, at least the counselors bring you in. They go over what you can do, what you can't do, where you can go, where you can't go, what help is available to you because of your crime or whatever. They do that to us. But somebody who's been in the war and fought for your country and did everything necessary to do the right thing, do that. You're just shoved out. When you're done, you're done. Yeah. You go over those things. Yeah. That's
just so crazy to me that, we do people like that and, over money, because it's, by default, it's like, oh, you should come ask, not we should automatically give that to you, because if you don't ask, then they save money or they keep their resources for whatever. You know what I mean? They keep more of the till versus giving it out to the people that earned it, deserve it, need it, whatever. It belongs to the veteran. The minute you get discharged, your benefits should automatically go into place. And the same way, completely different system. We're talking about the bail system, like when folks have their detainers lifted. So you sat, your probation hit, you got time served on your probation hit, they should automatically lift the detainer. You have served your time, that detainer should be automatically lifted, because people either can be free or they've got charges somewhere else that they can go on, but they don't have access to $77 because they've been incarcerated. They don't have their bank card. They don't have anybody on the outside, to help them. So why not ease the burden on the system and make it automatic? Automatically lift or unsecure the $77 bail once that detainer has been lifted.
Yeah, because the county is spending more money than that per day to keep you housed. Absolutely.
So makes no sense. Taria, any positives that you've seen over? I think you did say there were a couple of like bail reductions with like the bail review hearing. That's the only place I can kind of see that there might be some positive things that are happening. Anything positive happening in this system right now?
Can't lie, nothing positive.
Damn it. Yeah, I got a call from a mother whose young son, and we still need to talk offline about this, but just for sake of what's going on with the bail review hearings, is that Judge Ash gave this young man a $1,000 bail on a Friday. He sat the weekend, and I think because he's 17, he's still at the juvenile detention center. He's had his bail review hearing on Monday, and it was increased to $10,000. And what's interesting about it is that even though Denise Ash is listed as the arraigning judge, that bail, that $1,000 bail, does not show on his docket. He did not have, and now that was last week. I haven't checked again if they changed it or fixed it or did anything.
He had he got arraigned in front of Judge Brinker on Monday, and Judge Brinker kept the bail the same, 10,000, 10%. He didn't increase it. He didn't change it. He said it was okay by the DJ. So somebody needs to check that, because I got that in my notes and I wrote it down because I was on that bail review hearing.
Okay, yeah, then we need to talk, because the docket says 10,000 cash, and the mom is 10,000.
Free trials messed that up, and you have to call them and tell them they need to fix that, because it was 10,000, 10%. Brinker did not increase it. He kept it the same.
Okay, so Ash gave him 10,000, 10%? Because the docket doesn't even show
Any of that.
Yeah, it doesn't show that he had the MDJ. Like, there's not the two dockets. You know how they have the MDJ docket, and then they have the Court of Common Pleas docket, the miscellaneous hearing for the bail review. He didn't have that. He literally only had one docket, and that was, it said MDJ, but the bail was Court of Common Pleas on the docket. It didn't have the increase or the whatever it was. None of that was reflected. So I have to check again. But yeah, I'll give you a call tomorrow.
Yeah, because they've been messing up like that, because that's the same thing when I had to go and correct when DA still put in the paper and also put on the Facebook page that Judge Ash gave a guy a $10,000 unsecured bail when it was $50,000 unsecured. Mm-hmm. So that had to be changed. So some way somebody's not communicating the right way. Right. And something ain't getting right. But I know for a fact that it didn't get changed, because she put a couple of dollars on it because it was like a domestic violence situation. And when she did that last time and gave the boy straight unsecure, they tried to blast her. So she put a little bit of cash on it. But the bail was not changed at all.
Okay. Well, yeah, his docket is saying 10,000 cash. So
why is it all of a sudden they're having such a problem with Judge Ash? Why is there folks putting her under a microscope and everything she does is blasted?
Because I think she's trying to do the right thing.
Right, this kind of how can I say, cynicism about what goes on.
Yeah, I think she's trying to do the right thing. I think she's trying to be fair. I think she's trying to be unbiased. I think she's actually going by the letter of the law, going by with the information that she has available to her, and you know what I mean, is making a ruling based off of that. She's not making her opinion or her biases or any of that into the situation. She's actually doing what a judge is supposed to do. And they don't like that because they're not getting their way. They're used to being able to say, oh, they're just going to look at my client or the defendant and go with whatever the police department says and whatever the ADA says. And she's calling them out on it. And they're acting like spoiled brats when they don't get.
Go ahead, Taria.
The only thing I don't like is, like, for instance, like Judge Jones is a little upset right now because he did a unsecured bail on Sunday of a guy that didn't have no ties to Pennsylvania, and it was a retail theft for like an $1,800 Macy's, and they went and put it in the paper. But I just don't like that they put certain judges in the paper when they do certain bails, but they don't put all judges. So today it was the same situation with somebody no ties to Pennsylvania, and they did a bank situation, and they got $50,000 unsecured. So what is the difference? I don't understand. But I want to see if that's going to be in the paper in a couple of days or not.
Yeah, let's.
And that was agreement. And that was agreement by the ADA.
Right. And what does this person look
So that's
like?
why I say it just seemed like when And it just seemed like when African-American judges do something, they're being reamed out and exposed about their bells, but everybody's not getting that.
Right. Now, what do you think it's the difference between the judges, or did it have to do anything with the defendants' demographics? Did it matter, or was just that they're just blasting the judge?
Or does it have anything to do with race relations?
Right.
Race relations. That's what I believe.
But just with the judge, or is it had the defendant kind of weigh in on that too?
No, because one defending that Judge Jones did was he might have been like Arabic or something like that, and the defendant that got the unsecured today was black. So I can't say it's the defendants. It's them playing. It's them trying to expose the judges that they don't. That and as always comes to the judges on Marshall Street, the three African American judges.
Got you. Yeah, and that's, I mean, and when they sit up there and ask why we need court watchers, that's why we need court watchers, because we wouldn't know. If you're not in there, we don't know. We're not seeing it. We're not hearing it. But it would be odd, you know what I mean, that it's the only judges that you hear in the paper are the 3 black judges here in Norristown. And you don't hear them putting anybody else in the paper. You know, that's what I said. If you're going to tell the story, tell it all.
Well, I have something that I was very upset that I observed the other day. And I'm not going to lie, it kind of did something to me because a judge increased a defendant's bail because they asked a simple question. And I didn't like that because she gave him $5,000 unsecured bail. And he asked her, all he asked her was, do I have to sleep on what do I got to sleep on the streets? Because they were evicted him from his property because it was a domestics. So it was his house, but they made him leave and they let his girlfriend stay. So all he said is, what am I supposed to do? Sleep on the streets? So after the bell was over, they logged off. She asked the pretrial services people to call them back, and she said, I don't like the bell I gave them. And she increased it. Because she said it was Judge Rickbar.
Oh, yeah, not surprised.
And she increased it because he asked a simple question, when am I supposed to sleep on the streets? So she tried to justify that she upped the bell because she didn't like his conduct. But I didn't see nothing he did that disrespected her.
Right. And the defense didn't have anything to say about that?
No, I'm not gonna lie. If that was Bree on there, I think she would have said something. But Aaron just made a face, and that's it. He didn't come back and try to even correct. And I don't like that.
Right.
So what did she up the bail to?
I want to think $10,000 cash or the $5,000 cash.
So then that's what I want to find out. So they kept him in the county.
Yeah, so you don't have to sleep on the street. You go and stay.
Right.
Well, he was actually at Cheltenham behind the bars, and they took him to the county.
Yeah.
So he was still behind the bars of Cheltenham. Cheltenham's still doing that.
That's what I was getting to. So she says that's her way of saying, well, you won't have to sleep on the street because I got you a place to stay. See, that's real cynical for a judge. Yeah, right. There's no way in the world that's fair or unbiased.
And
I thought that was Powers. I thought that was the Powers was getting a little bit too out of control.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly what that is. It's back to like Jimmy Kimball. You know, you're not allowed to express yourself. You're not allowed to have freedom of speech.
Right.
Because I don't like what you say, or I don't like the way you said it. It don't even have to be what you say. I don't like the way that you say it. And I'm in charge, so you're not going to say it in here.
Right. And naturally, you got to understand.
You got it.
Naturally, you got to understand that he's upset considering that that's his home.
Right.
And they let the girlfriend stay there. Now, I don't know if she's doing the lease or whatever, but if that's his home, you know what I mean? That's something that needs to be worked out. Well, you might have to get in a hotel or stay somewhere else until, you know what I mean, we can get her out or whatever. Like, it just, agitating an already challenging situation by doing stuff like that. Like,
yeah, but for her to let him go, give him a lower bail,
right.
and then you have nothing to say. You can't ask the question. You can't say anything. Take this bail, keep your mouth shut, and get the hell out of my courtroom. It's unfair.
Right.
It's unfair.
No, I agree with that 100%.
It's his home. She's in my home. Okay. And I'm the one on the street where she's sitting in the air conditioning or the heat or whatever the consequences may be, but I'm suffering them.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, I'm not okay. So I did tell a little white lie. It was something positive today on court.
Yay.
It was a defendant. He just got released from a mental health institution. He was deemed got deemed not he has schizophrenia, diagnosed with schizophrenia, bipolar, and he wasn't on his medication. So I guess 14 days ago, before he got put in the place, he went into Bridgeport Court, Judge Gallagher's court. And he sat in the judge's seat. And I guess he threatened, they're saying that he allegedly threatened the court staff. And today, Judge Levine arraigned him. And they asked for $50,000 cash bail. That's what the ADA wanted. And even after Bree gave his whole history he just left, from getting medicated, he's getting shot now and everything. And he's kind of like, it was a mental health crisis. And Judge Levine gave him $50,000 unsecure. And he said, I know I'm going to hear this probably later, but he felt that, he asked, how's he feeling now? And he asked him, could he, promise that he'll stay on his medication and he stay with the mental health treatment and things like that. And he said, I just want to go home to my mom. He's 30 years old. He said he just got diagnosed in his early 20s. And he said, I'm going to let you go to home to your mom. And I tell you, the ADA was not happy. He was furious. But he said he's going to give him another chance. Oh, but let me tell you a quick one though. This was a good one today. So on the 19th, they arraigned this man on the FOJ. So they arraigned him on the FOJ on the 19th. They gave him $25,000 cash bail for something that happened out of South Carolina. So he's been in the county since the 19th on $25,000 cash bail. Today, they get him an FOJ for, so he goes in front of, so they give him an FOJ today for Georgia. Today he goes, this was 2:30 bail hearings. He goes on for Georgia. So it was like kind of weird because he was like, I don't understand why I'm still here because I went to court. They said that they don't want to take me. They said they're throwing us out down south. And I don't know why I'm still sitting here and I'm back here again being rearranged on this. So come to find out, it was Judge O'Neill threw the South Carolina out because they don't want to extradite him. It's not extraditable. So they're done with that. So it was a South Carolina warrant and it was a Georgia warrant. So now the Georgia warrant, it was a clerical error inside the thing. So he didn't set, what's today, the 20, he set a couple of days on a warrant that was no good. So now today they wanted $25,000 cash for them then to be able to extradite him. So he's like, so Bree put a good fight up And long story short is now the judge is giving them to October 8th to go down to Georgia to handle this situation.
Right.
Because it's not his fault that they're making mistakes in the computer system.
Right.
And he told the judge he ain't been to Georgia since 1987.
Oh, wow.
And he begged the judge, I want to go see what this is because I ain't been to Georgia in a long time. So he gave him that benefit of doubt.
Okay.
So yeah, so it's a lot of hiccups. But before we end this live, I want to tell you the big hiccup right now that's going on in the court, in the Montgomery County Correction Facility with the judges, with the pretrials, with the PDs, and I don't think the ADAs really care, and they could care less. But it's a big deal, and the big deal right now, the fight on the table is that during the weekends and nights, these defendants are not getting phone calls after their arraignments due to there's no social worker on call. And pretrial said they are not in the budget to be able to let them get a phone call after their arraignment. So like you just said, people are sitting in jail for weekends, days, behind not being able to post bail. Especially if you get locked up on a Friday, you're not getting a phone call on Monday.
Right.
And if you get locked up at night, you're not getting a phone call until the next business day. So if it's a like you said, if it's a $77 bill or it's a $100 bill or a $10 bill, and you just need to make a phone call to get somebody to bail you out, it's not happening after hours, and it's not happening on weekends. So when Judge Griffins was on the other day, she arraigned a couple people, and she told them, because apparently she's having email back and forth with the warden to try to change this process. And she said, I want everybody that arraigned today to get a phone call because it's their due process right. Hakeem Jones reiterated it on Sunday, but it's the same old song. Right. And all they keep on making excuses saying that, oh, they got to wait to get it cleared by a social worker because they could be calling the victim and all this stuff like that. Come on now. If you're sitting there after their arraignment, you can dial the number for them and you know exactly who they're talking to and have it on speaker if it comes to that.
Right.
So I just feel like it's a lot of excuses to these people getting the due process right that they need to be able to post bail over the weekends.
Right. Right. Well, you're doing great work, and that's all I can say is you're doing phenomenal work documenting this. We need to get your notes so we can, Oh,
I got 2 books for you. I got 2 books. I got you.
Yes, because I mean, this is it's crazy. The stuff that's happening, like we were talking about with the ICE stuff. They're bypassing people's due process. People's rights are being violated. And just like the prison system, jail system in Philadelphia, they got sued. The city of, I don't know, like they got sued. I forget how it went. Like the city of Philadelphia was suing the jail, the DOJ or whatever it was, or the city of Philadelphia got sued by the DOJ because they did not correct what was going on in the jail system, right? Well, is that what needs to happen here in Monco?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And so once we start analyzing this data and being able to present it to them, they're already telling you, got 2 judges telling you, you're violating these people's rights. They're entitled to a phone call. And you're pushing it off, well, because some bullshit. The same reason why they want a court watcher's cameras on and not to have filters and all this. Like you really think there's a victim standing here or a Cody standing here on a random arraignment that we have no idea what time this person is going to be arraigned? That this is for the safety when they have complete control over who they let into the Zoom?
So my understanding to your question of that is that what I was told by one Judge Skursky says, because I guess he's the only one now that wants the cameras on, because I was on Sunday and he's talking about, oh, court watch, you got to turn your camera on. But my thing is that I have no problem with turning my camera on. But the problem I do have is that you don't even announce who I am to the defendants or the room. You don't announce who I am. So you don't even know who I am because you have never asked me my name.
Right.
So my thing is that my understanding from his notes and these meetings about the Zoom and the camera is that he feels as though that the defendant should know who's watching and they have that right.
Then you're right. He should announce who you are.
So my thing is that what about if I was a victim to a defendant that came on, or if I knew a defendant that came on, and I know a lot of them because 60% of them that come on from Norristown, I know.
Right.
And I don't want to be looking in their faces directly because I see if I had my camera off and I didn't have no picture, but my picture is my profile.
Right.
And my picture, and I got knocked off of Zoom a couple months ago because I turned my camera on, but my profile picture is the back of me. And they kicked me off the Zoom. And I said, I don't have no problem with turning on my camera, but I'm not taking down my profile picture in the back.
Right. Because, I mean, you have the right to privacy. But again, like, if you're in person in this courtroom and you've got people sitting in there observing, are you announcing to the defendant who these people are? No.
Now, I did get told the other day that somebody that does go down and watch court in person, he told me he got kicked out of court by a judge the other day. And he said that he didn't know why he got kicked out of court. Now, and he said, you know, he's there all every day in person.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And he said that the judge stopped him. The judge stopped him outside and said, oh, my staff said that you be in the courtroom every day. What are you in the courtroom every day for? And he said, because it's my public right.
Right.
And,
I think I know.
He said, I'm coming down here to just watch the hearings like everybody else.
Right.
And I guess when he said what he said the next time around, the judge stopped him and said, oh, well, I have a homicide coming up if you'd like to come back to watch court.
What? Can't make this shit up. Like, this is, come on, folks. I guess people are nervous because, you know, you've been doing things that, you know, may or may not be in the guidelines or the Constitution.
In their guidelines.
Boy, you said a mouthful because that's how I feel. Bingo. You hit the hammer on the nail. I don't even got to do my what the F because that's what it is. I said that the other day. I told somebody, I said, you know what? Just watching and like I'm telling you, I'm taking these notes and I'm even taking even the little smart comments that these judges are saying to these defendants and behind the scenes and all kinds of stuff. And I say, you know what? I know why they don't want us on there. They don't want us on there because they like Scotty says, Mr. Scotty says Mr. Scott says all the time, they break the law to make the law. And the problem is they don't want to see the corruption behind it, how they were doing people before. And pretrial services, it's a joke. I'm not going to lie. I thought that was better for the defendants, but some of them don't know the front from the left. And it's sad. It's sad. And I wonder why they keep on having the turnover that they have because it's not a good system. They don't know what they are doing. They do not at all. And they're supposed to be the middleman to the situation. Just like sometimes if I'm talking like right now, I'm talking a lot. And I see a defendant talking a lot. And I know that the government's on listening and taking every note like I'm taking.
Right.
Why don't you mute that person? It shouldn't have to take a judge to tell you to mute them. It shouldn't have to take a defense attorney to tell you to mute them. You should know you should mute them. But sometimes I feel like they want to give them to them too.
Right. Yeah.
So it's like they're working against all angles against you. It's like you don't have nobody but that poor PD or that private attorney that's on. But a private attorney, I ain't gonna lie, private attorneys get their way every time on there. Because that's that backdoor meeting that they had before they come on. So they already coming on with agreements.
Right.
So, you know, it is definitely, the system is definitely rigged. That's all I can say.
Yep. Well, so keep marking down those comments because actually a hub down in Durham, and shout out Muffin in the Durham Community Bail Fund. I think that's what it's called. She does court watching also. And yeah, she takes whatever slick comments that the judges make and she posts them online. So if Judge so-and-so, like with Judge Rebar, oh, I don't like your comments, so I'm going to increase your bail. I didn't like how you asked me that question, so I'm going to increase your bail. Oh yeah, that will go on a thing and get posted. So yeah, keep taking those notes. We're calling out folks. You want to be a court watcher, hit us up. You don't even have to hit us up. If you want it to be organized and you want to take notes and do all that kind of stuff that we can actually hold judges accountable, hit us up. If you just want to be a person in the courtroom, just show up. You don't have to have any type of training. You don't have to announce to anybody who you are. The bailiff might come over, the court crier might come and ask you, if you have a case. No, I'm just here observing. That's all you need to say. And you sit there. You can't record. You can't use your phone. You can take notes, handwritten notes, but you can't use any electronic devices. So you don't have to get with us and do court watching. You can do that on your own. We highly encourage you to do that on your own. Even though these arraignments are on Zoom, all the district judges have a criminal court day. So the preliminary hearings, they are in person at the district level. You can go there, go to your court, the local district judge, find out what day they have criminal court, go there and sit. Judge Barnes is Friday. Denise Ash is Thursday. Hakeem Jones is Wednesday here in Norristown. So that's their criminal court dates. But in different jurisdictions, find out go to your local MDJ, ask them what day they have criminal cases and go sit. Ask them what day they hear evictions if you want to hear about that. See what's happening to people, how people end up homeless.
That's Mondays for Miss Ash. That's Mondays for Miss Ash. Mondays is, what's today? Tuesday? Mm-hmm. Today is tenant landlord for Miss Ash. Tomorrow is truancy for Miss Ash. And civil is on Tuesdays. Today, this day is like miscellaneous non-traffic Wednesday. And then Thursday is her criminal. Now, Thursday, she did let me know today that she's going to have the guys that did the murder in Norristown. 10 o'clock is going to be in her courtroom on Thursday. So if you have an intern or anybody that you want to go down there in person, I did tell her I'll probably come down in person. Okay. And what's name? I am going to be in person for Hakeem a couple times because Carell Johnson's coming in person to him, and I want to see a couple people. And I already let him know that, he said that's fine, but I just want to come down and see how I handle certain situations.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
What was the case with Carell Johnson? What's the case?
So the case with Carell Johnson is a 9-month-old apparently shooting that happened in front of the courthouse. Near the courthouse. So I'm thinking it must have happened near the building that they had. And assuming that, so last week they just filed charges on this alleged 9-month-old situation because somebody gave a anonymous video that he was shooting in front of allegedly shooting in front of the courthouse. And they did a search warrant, and when they went into his property, they claimed that they allegedly found drugs. 9 months later. So he's sitting on $250,000 bail right now at Montgomery County Correctional Facility.
That's wild.
50,000.
He got, for the shooting, aggravated assault without a victim, they got him on $150,000 bail. And for the drugs that they allegedly said they found in a search of the home, they got him on $100,000 bail. So that's $250,000 for bail. And a young man that did the home invasion the other day here in Norristown, that got stabbed, they arraigned him from his hospital bed. Well, I'm about to drop a bomb on y'all real fast. They wanted a judge to arraign him while he was on a respirator, and they opted out. They said, I do not feel comfortable doing that. So they woke him up the next. They waited till he was up the next day and arraigned him from his hospital bed. This is how real it gets.
This is Armstrong, right?
Yes. So he's on 150. So now he's in the county. He's in the county now. So he's on $150,000 cash bail.
He can't be healed from his wounds.
And that's what I'm saying. They tried to fight for him to get lower yesterday because he is still got fresh wounds.
Yeah.
And they Judge O'Neill would not decrease the bail. He's the bell arraigner this week. Yeah, the police are the ones giving the bells now. They're the ones that's still running the bell numbers.
Right.
And that's the affiant. That's what it comes down to. That's what I thought why pre-trial came. Huh?
I said the water keeps getting deeper and deeper.
It sure does.
Yeah. But I'm just glad that some of these judges still have some kind of feelings and compassion for people.
Right.
Because I'm so proud of that judge for saying I am not going to arraign nobody on their deathbed. You know what I mean? I'm not going to do that. Like, that's just not going to be me. So we can pass it to another day. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just glad that some of them are stepping up.
What judge was that?
It was Judge Griffiths.
Good for her.
Yes, I love her. She's a really, really, really good person.
Right. Good for her. And like I said, we want to know when they do good so that we can be like, yo, like you still have some integrity about you. You're not like the folks that I saw a clip, a video of former Vice President Kamala Harris talking about how, she predicted a lot of these things that the current administration would do. What she was not expecting was how folks capitulated. And I had to look up the word capitulate. And essentially, it means they roll over. You know what I mean? They just gave in to whatever it is this administration wants and does. The same way, Disney just rolled over and ABC canned Jimmy Kimmel and all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? And so good for her that she did not just roll over and allow, this steamroller of a system to just roll over this guy, and he don't even have the ability to speak because he's got a ventilator down his throat, and they wanted to arraign him like he's going to understand what's happening. Are you under any medication, drugs, or alcohol that can prohibit you from understanding what's happening today? The fuck? Yeah.
And that's why these families of these defendants need to get more involved to be able to see the things that they're doing to their loved ones. Because if they don't get involved and they don't see what's going on and they don't show up for them, they're going to do anything they want to do. You know what I'm saying? And it's sad.
Absolutely. Well, the call for court watchers is out there. It is always, you don't have to, like I said, be down with us. Just go do your due diligence, exercise your constitutional rights to sit in the public hearings and observe. And if you want to share whatever it is that you've seen with us, feel free. You know where to find us, www.bailfundmonco.org. Reuniting Families Monco at Gmail. We're on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, where folks are watching this podcast right now. YouTube is Reuniting Family Bail Fund, not purely speculation. It'll take you kind of a long way to get to us if you search it that way. So Taria kind of gave her what the fuck moment. Scotty, you got one?
No, not tonight.
It's exhausting. It's exhausting. And I think, yeah. I thank you both for your consistency and passion for this work, as ugly as it gets. You guys still show up and with the same vigor and same spirit and energy as, we did this 5 years ago. You know what I mean? So I appreciate y'all for that. And but on a lighter note, we still have, we're still out in the community. So we're not just, doing this to, hold the court systems and the judges and everybody accountable, but we're also here holding our community accountable. So we're out here doing some community events. The next things that we got, that was another uproar about trunk or treat. Our trunk or treat will be happening at the Norristown Rec Center, 340 Harding Boulevard. Halloween is on a Friday this year, so it's going to be lit. But trunk or treat will be happening 4 to 7 on October 31st. at the Norristown Rec Center. The information, the flyers being created, still looking for vendors, trunkers, boothers, candy donations, cash donations, volunteers. Hit us up. November 10th is a Monday. We're going to be having Smoke and Whiskey. So we had our kind of summer edition of Smoke and Whiskey. It'll be going back to our Father's Day edition, but we're having a Smoke and Whiskey tailgate edition. Eagles at Green Bay. We'll be watching it at Bonsi. We'll have some snacks and tailgate games, and obviously some cigars and whiskey, whatever Bonsi is going to be pulling out. And it's just going to be a dope time. So make sure you come out on that night. And then the Teen Summit will be in December. So our first Teen Summit was last December 2024. Thanks to Taria. She brought the idea to us, and here we are doing it. We did a summer one, and we're back to, full circle doing our winter edition. But Taria didn't know this. I got hit up by Phyllis Mason, who does the tennis clinics. I think your kids have participated in her tennis clinics. She now wants to do a full day of health and fitness. So day one will be health and fitness, tennis clinic, golf, soccer, track and field, chess, just outside of the box, outside of basketball and football that our kids can be exposed to. So health and fitness will be day one. Day two, health and wellness, which will be our peace circles, guided painting, workshops, all that stuff on day two. They'll get their toiletries on that day, all their free good stuff. And so we're just looking forward to it. So if y'all want to get involved and help, not only are we holding this system accountable, but we're trying to uplift and equip our young people so that they are out of the reach of this criminal legal system that is just trying to snatch our young people up. And when you hear these stories about what's happening in the adult system, don't think for a second it's not happening in the juvenile system. That young man that we were talking about, they want to charge him as an adult. You know what I mean? And, probably in the senior year of high school, trying to get him out of custody. Will he be able to go back to his school? Will he be able to graduate, walk with his class? Probably not. Not until this case is resolved. You know what I'm saying? And so here y'all are talking to the DA's office for charging this boy the way they are, holding him the way they are. You're destroying his last year of high school and anything, going to the prom, doing all these things. I don't know if he's an athlete, everything that, young people look forward to in their senior year, y'all are stealing from him. And, from what I understand, it's clearly a misunderstanding, but it's going to have to come out in the wash, unfortunately, and that's going to take some time. And all right, y'all. Oh, last but not least, we had a dope guest, Erica Kirby, a Trauma to Triumph story of justice impacted. She went courtroom to the boardroom. Sis is holding it down. She's got her own business. She's has multiple degrees after being, as a young lady, assaulted and arrested by police officers for a curfew violation when she was literally walking up the steps to go into her home. Took that experience and turned it around. And now she's on boards. She's an employee for the city of Philadelphia. She's got her own business and she's a community activist. So super dope guest. Check it out. The beginning of this month, and follow her and see the great work that she's doing. And with that, I will say thank you. I love y'all. You guys always holding it down, bringing the real to the real. So with that, I say peace, and we'll see y'all next time.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Purely Speculation. If you learned something, share something. Please like, follow, and share this show. The more our communities know, the more they are empowered, and the faster we can create change. Purely Speculation would not be made possible without the generous support of the Community Justice Exchange, the Health Sparks Frank E. Boston Black Justice Fund, Philadelphia Foundation, and Reform Alliance. Thank you. Booyah!
Intuition different, already lived and dreamt it. Visions make my vision clear as I'm jogging through this fog of life. Fog lights with the fog set, body and I'm all set. Baby, can you be my Cardi B on an offset?